99% of people on the street don't even know how to throw a jab, bro. Like, you know that these dudes, like these Dagestanis, right? All these Russians, they're super quiet. They're humble.
Yep.
You just look at them, bro, and you're like, dude, that dude's gonna fucking beat my ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, it's about choices, right? You can only change if you want to change, right?
Yes.
To everything.
Liquor stores open during COVID because people die through withdrawals if they don't have alcohol, which is crazy,
dude.
right?
Yeah, it's crazy. If I could pick how to train people, it would be just the basics. MMA, education, and third lift, and obviously shooting. That's fundamental.
What happens when you get sick? You only want one thing. What is that?
Your health.
Exactly. You don't give a fuck about anything else.
No.
You don't give a fuck about money. You don't give a fuck about even your relationships.
I was in the garage of my mom's house. She was gone. I was sitting in my car with my gun loaded, and I was ready for her to find me. It was loaded, everything. I was ready to fucking shoot myself. Whatever it is, just showing that people will always love you.
Yep.
Always. There's always one person that will. You're not alone. The people that ever think about trying to kill yourself, it's not worth it.
What do you think needs to be implemented as far as physical training before you go out into the field
Oh man,
with the police force?
That's a really good question, actually.
Yeah.
So there's a lot when it comes to physical fitness, and unfortunately, the money's also an issue for the department.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
You got to budget certain things in different areas, but I think physical fitness, in my opinion, is number one.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
You have to be fit to do this job. Because at the end of the day, you got to come home to your family, kids, right?
Yeah.
So
why do you think there's a lack of that? If that's because to me, and I'm not in the police force, but that seems the obvious, right? Like even before you got into
100%.
it, it's like, wait, what?
It's just, at the end of the day, it's a choice, right? Like taking accountability for yourself and actually putting the effort, which, some people are lazy.
Yep.
And I don't judge, it's not for me to judge people.
Sure.
So, how the police should implement. So first of all, I think we should do a yearly physical test. PT test, we call it. So, and give a bonus, right?
Interesting, like an incentive.
Correct.
Yeah.
We don't have that. So you do that in the academy. I started my academy September of 2022. It's been 3 years now.
Yep.
6 months, right?
Damn, it's been that long.
Yeah, it goes by pretty fast.
Yeah,
but 6 months, and then you go on the street for field training. So less than 3 years on the street patrol, right? But in the academy, you train every day. Like it was morning to night, running, push-ups, lifting. It was great.
Yeah,
I loved it because I love to work out, so I got paid to work out for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But some people did it. But it got people in shape, right? And then after that, you go your own way, right? You don't have a supervisor or some people telling you what to do. It's just you, right? Well, I mean, you have your FTO, right? Field training supervisor.
Yeah.
They'll grade you to make sure you're proficient to be on the street by yourself.
How do they do that?
So they have certain grades. So it goes from basically 0 to 4. A 4, which means like you did an excellent job in this area, like officer safety, for example. And then if you get a 0, that means you did terrible.
Right.
And you got to probably check on that, on that part. But man, fitness, man, I can't, it's such a good question, dude. Like, I wish that we had more people promote fitness, especially officers. But the problem is, there's certain policies when it comes to social media and, whether it's training on duty, right? And you post it for social media purposes. We can't really show the badge or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
Big no-no. It depends which department. Some are cool with it.
Yeah.
But if we have more officers like just promoting on social media of them taking the time to work out on duty, that would show other officers like, man, this guy's doing it. Why can't I?
That's a money point right there. That's a great point because I think, like we were talking about before this podcast, you are your environment, right? And you are pretty much what you see on social media, right? It's almost a comparison game. So I think it would drive more people to actually be motivated in doing that. It's like you see, John over there. It's like, dude, like I need to step my game up, and especially if you're at risk, if you're out on the field, right?
Correct.
It's almost like, oh wait, like
correct.
Yeah, and you know what? Like venturing out into it, like say this is gonna go off the cuff of what we're talking about. But
No,
say
you're
like
good. You're good.
if you say you had mats, like, do you have mats in your?
So we do actually in the conference room. But do we have a mat room? We do, but it's super far.
It's limited. Yeah.
Like, dude.
What's going on, guys? Just a quick announcement. If you're watching and listening on YouTube, if I can ask you, please hit the like and subscribe button. And also, if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, if you can leave a quick review and hit the follow button, it really helps out to reach to more audiences. And as always, thank you for your love and support. And now, back to the show.
The guys up there are amazing, though.
Right.
Like, we have AOSD, Advanced Officer Safety Training. They're all purple belt and up. They're sergeants,
interesting.
Third degree black belt.
So is that a program implemented by the police department, or is it by itself?
So it's a program implemented by the police department.
Yep.
And but unfortunately, though, it's quarterly a year. They teach you that, right?
Just once? Every
4
quarter?
times.
Yeah. So once every quarter, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some officers, that's all they do is that for their fitness, for example, or grappling, because it's defensive tactics, right?
Yep.
When it comes to fitness, it's by yourself, you know? I think the incentive, like, for example, every year, right, you got to do the same academy PT. That's why we needed to get into the police department, right? And if you pass everything you need to do on that PT test every year, you get either bonus on your check or vacation time. Like, if they gave me, let's say they gave people, you get a week off to all the officers that passed their PT.
Yep.
That would motivate a lot of people, because I'd like to take a week off, man.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's the incentives, right? And that's not just for the police department, even though it probably should be, because, you know, it's probably going to help you save your life, you
100%.
know? And, but then incentives make the world go round. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just like with any job,
For sure.
right? If you get paid more, you're going to do your job better. But so what I'm hearing from you, which to my understanding is that there is training, but there's not enough time of training, right? Because you're telling me that it's once every quarter. I'm like, once every quarter? I mean, as me and you know.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, we train. We train every day.
Every day.
Like, I go 2 days without training. I'm like, I buzz
exactly.
out.
But unfortunately, some people are okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest, like, my shooting is average. Some people are not good at fitness, but they're incredible shooters.
Sure.
But I need to take accountability and go by myself and go shoot, because we got that quarterly too. So it's taking accountability for your own actions. And that's the problem. People are satisfied with just being the way they are.
Right.
And that's the problem, in my opinion, because criminals, they look at that.
Absolutely, bro. That's an evolutionary thing. That's innate in humans. Like, they're going to size you up.
100%.
And a lot of them, I'm willing to bet, are masters of that. That's what they do for a living. They're going to size
smart,
you
bro.
up, and then they're going to expose that weakness.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. They're street smart.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the quote unquote criminals, they do that for a living, right?
Yeah,
they lie to you for a living. They manipulate for a living. Like, they're masters, literally,
100%.
at that craft.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. No, but, like, sorry, we're going a little bit off topic.
No.
It's such a hard question to answer, because I'll tell you what, our department, believe it or not, gives more training than most departments in the United States. Can you believe that shit?
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. You mean Las Vegas itself? Like, Las Vegas as a whole.
Yeah.
Their department gets more training, even with
Gives us
SDPD
more training.
or NYPD and all that?
Most likely, yeah. We have literally a training center built that cost millions. That was a donation to train us.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A whole different facility.
Whole different. It's all
like a headquarters, kind of like.
It's all the way in the mountains, basically. Put it that way.
Damn.
But unfortunately, it's far for some people. So that's also another thing that maybe could have been thought about a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because if you live west side and you got to go all the way up, it takes you an hour to get there to train.
Yeah.
An hour there, an hour back with traffic now. Vegas, it's not what it used to be.
That's true. I mean, I guess it all depends how you look at it, because, listen, and again, like,
I'm saying for the norm, right?
Sure.
We got different mentality.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I see you in the gym all the fucking time. with your headphones fucking killing it.
Yeah.
So you have that mindset already. You're willing to do whatever it
The
takes.
habits, yeah.
But that's a choice, right?
It is a choice. And listen, without bashing, because I know, especially
you can
in...
be honest, bro.
Yeah, no. Like, especially in social media, what I was trying to say is that, like, I think people like, will bash people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think sometimes you need that tough love. I think most of the time you need that tough love, honestly, to get someone's ass up, because it's virtually impossible to change someone if they don't want to be changed.
Oh yeah,
right?
100%.
Even if your life is on the line, think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think in some sort of way, people think it's a hypothetical thing. It's like, no, you could be in danger, even not being a police officer, just going out to like Walmart or something. Oh, there's a certain mentality, like what we were talking about, and not to go off to track, but then people will find out. Like, so this is like a point that I thought that I had.
Yeah.
Since we train martial arts, right? And I don't know if you feel this way, correct me if I'm wrong. When I go to say some sketchy ass place, maybe grocery store, Walmart late at night or something.
Yeah, that's definitely sketchy at night.
Right. Just you alone with that vibe and you knowing how to do martial arts. And don't get it twisted. Just because you know you don't do martial arts doesn't mean you can't get stabbed or shot.
For sure.
But that level of like confidence in you, it fucking reeks out of you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's almost enough. I'm not saying completely, but that's almost enough to prevent a situation, right? When people are like, oh, wait a minute. Other than you compared to you having your head down, shoulders slouched, you're kind of skinny a little bit, right? Like,
Scott, I think you said that in English because, I'm from Switzerland, you know that. Is it called aura, right? Your aura?
Yeah, you're like energy about you,
your
right?
Energy.
Your vibe, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
like without even doing anything.
Correct.
Yeah. Right.
Because deep inside, like when I see a suspect, right? And let's say they try something or their intent's not to fight me, right?
Yeah.
But I think about the what if game, right?
Of course.
In my head, I'm like, I already know I could fucking fuck them up.
Yeah.
Because 99% of people on the street don't even know how to throw a jab, bro.
That's true. It's a very, like, I guess you could say consolidated. I mean, it's like any other craft, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you play the piano, you're probably, and you're really good at it, you're probably in the top like 2%.
Oh, 100%.
That's the same. That's even more so with fighting because it's so primal that a lot of people are scared of it or their insinuation of what trading is.
I mean, it's humbling, dude. MMA
it's very humbling, yeah.
Bro,
that's
like,
for sure.
You think you're good? Mm-hmm. There's different levels to this shit, man.
Yep.
Like, I just, when I met you at Syndicate, right? Like, there's some dudes in there, man. Like, I'll just point out the ones that train the jiu-jitsu, right? The Shapiro brothers, bro.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. The dude, Jerry, he's like 5'4", bro.
Yeah.
He's weighs 140.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 5'11", I'm 192.
Yep.
And he makes you feel like you never trained a day of your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's, going back to the original question is, we need to implement a lot more training.
Yeah.
Is it going to cost? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But as citizens, right? Would you feel comfortable if you knew that in order to be a police officer, at least you, for a requirement, have 6 months of jiu-jitsu under your belt?
That's
at least that.
Interesting. Yeah. That's a poll that I put up on, like my little community.
Yeah.
It was exactly that. It's funny because me and John actually didn't talk about that. You just brought it up.
Yeah.
And I actually, since I'm doing this, Boys in Blue Week, with police officers, I asked that question, like, how much level of training and how long should you do before you go out into the field? And the majority of people, even just as civilians and not even, in that first responder category, they said that one was like 6 months and then one was like a year, you know?
But you know what the problem is with all that though? Which I understand from an admin perspective.
Yep.
If they implement that, we'd be empty, bro.
True.
We're already understaffed as is.
I understand. But I think like we can revert to back as in like, you can still join the police force, right? Have more training in the beginning. And then as you go, you should implement 2 or 3 days a week, at least demanded at least an hour.
100%.
You know what I mean? Because something is better than nothing, right?
Oh, for sure.
And this is another topic that I've talked to, even when Jerry was here, like I talked to him about. It's like the level of training, if you train consistently for 3 months every day and then just completely quit compared to someone that doesn't, is fucking night and day.
Oh yeah,
it's night and day. Like you know the positions, you know where to place your weight in wrestling. You know where to knee on belly, where to place that weight. Like it's night and day, bro. Like compared to someone that doesn't train, a police officer that doesn't train. That's a crazy.
And you know what the problem with that too is when you don't train or you're not physically fit. That's when you tend to fucking use your tools, right? Because we have a duty belt.
Yeah,
so
that's
the taser.
A great point,
but
bro.
what happens if a taser doesn't work, dude?
Sure.
And you have a dude who's, some people never got punched in the face. Yeah. And you know that because you've done MMA. It's not fun.
It's not fun at all.
Especially with those little gloves, the MMA gloves.
The Mike Tyson quote.
Yeah.
If someone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
100%.
Or punched in the mouth. That's what
And I mean, in the academy, you have like a scenario, like a boxing sparring type thing.
Yeah.
It's only one. But man, in order, they need to switch the academy around, in my opinion. There's a lot of great tools.
Yep.
But when it comes to fitness, the fitness part was great. Running, push-ups, abs, that was great. But in terms of jiu-jitsu, like, and striking, there was none of that, bro. And I was amazed to see, like...
That's heavy, man. That's heavy to hear, like, honestly.
Your life is literally on the line. These people don't give a fuck about you, bro.
Yeah. Dude, listen, compared to like if we were to take ourselves back, right? Before we started training and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, you know, like you said, there's levels to this shit. 100%. I don't consider myself an expert at all means.
Not me neither,
just because we're talking about this.
We're just learning.
We're just learning as we go, right?
Yeah,
And back to my point, that's probably what people should be doing. But if you take yourself back before we started training, I don't know how I went without it. And I could bet you, that I had my, like we were talking about, I had my head down. I was like this probably skinny kid, right? Like, you know what I mean? When you look back at yourself without that level of training, that aura, energy that we were talking about, I'm probably walking around like with my shoulders slouched and stuff like that. And again, it goes in full circle because people can read that off of you. It reeks of you, right? You reek. If you have confidence, you reek of confidence. For sure. If you don't have confidence, you reek of not having confidence, right?
Yeah, you can just tell with some people, man.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even have to speak.
Yes.
And you look at them and you're like, yeah, that dude's a fucking...
It's evolutionary.
He's a straight up killer. Like,
Right.
In terms of athletics.
Yes. Exactly.
Like, you know, that these dudes, like these Dagestanis, right? All these Russians, they're super quiet. They're humble.
Yep.
You just look at them, bro. And you're like, dude, that dude's gonna fucking beat my ass, dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's not even the fact that they're like Dagestani with the beard and stuff. It's just, it could be anyone. It could be some Filipino guy. It could be some Korean guy.
100%.
It's just the way he walks, the way he just carries himself, the way he's nice to people with humility.
Yeah. I like that word, humility.
Yeah. I think it's such a big thing because it gets you to a place, Tim Kennedy style, to where you don't have to do anything. He literally said that in a podcast. He was like, it's just your sense of awareness about you. It's how aware you are of the situation. It's how you carry yourself. And then once you do have that level of training where you're confident in yourself, again, don't get it twisted. It's not like we can't get stabbed or anything, but that will go a long way. It's like a prevention before the prevention.
So you know what it's called? In the police world, it's called de-escalation.
De-escalation.
You use force to decrease lethal force. Or to decrease more force, right?
Okay, so you use force to decrease force. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And like you could say a simple leg sweep, right?
Yep.
That could solve a problem like that.
Interesting.
Like someone's getting riled up, you know, he wants to fight you, whatever. Simple leg sweep. 90% of people won't even know how to stop it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, there's certain cases like if a dude's 6'10", 300 pounds,
of course,
I'm not going to fight him.
Yeah.
That would be stupid. They don't pay me to fight. I need to survive.
I mean, it's guerrilla warfare. I mean, you have to like expose, you have to use your strength and then expose their weaknesses.
You could be the best fighter in the world, but a dude who's that big, one punch, you're out, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
And they'll take your gun, they'll take all your tools, and I'm not willing to take that chance.
Yeah, I mean, and look, that's self-awareness. You know, like knowing that. Because there are some people that are very delusional about it, right? Especially the people that just start, okay? Yeah. It's like that bar talk kind of shit, right? When people take a boxing class for like 2 months and then they're taking like the beginner's class and then all of a sudden they're going to their friends. Me and Jerry talked about this too in like jiu-jitsu terms. And all of a sudden, or he talks about it like, you know, all the time. Not all the time, but you know, he talks about it where you're going to like you're friends, and then you take a jujitsu class, and then all of a sudden you think you're like fucking like Marcelo. You know? It's like no, because it makes you feel a certain way.
Correct.
And then compared to other people that don't train, yeah, of course you want to show it off. Look at the cool things that I'm doing. I'm a fighter now. Yeah. You know, and
until you get into the fighting world.
Until you get into the fighting world. So my point is on that was like a lot of people have this perception just because they know technique and stuff like that. All of a sudden they could take on like a 200, you know, right? That Bradley Martin thing, like the 260, can you take me on? I don't know. If he fucking grabs a hold of me and then dumps me on my head on this concrete, then I'm probably dead.
Probably.
I'm probably fucking dead, dude. Like, so
man. No, but
that's the whole point.
Training, man.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. There are some, I know a lot of police officers, man, cops that I'm friends with.
Yeah.
They're trying to push it, man. But you know, it's about choices, right? You can only change if you want to change, right?
Yes.
To everything.
Yep.
Bro, I could give you a diet plan, a supplement plan, I could give you a workout routine. I could give you the best coaches, whether it's for lifting, right, getting in shape, or jiu-jitsu, or martial arts. But if you're not willing to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what, I'm fucking tired of being the way I am. You know, the whole implementing fitness in the police department, right? It's starting little by little, right? But still, there's certain people, right, that you even say yourself, right? You got to take accountability. I like that word, accountability.
Yes.
If you're not willing to change yourself, you can have all the tools in the world, bro.
Yep. And
you're still going to be the same if you don't change yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll talk about it later too, but one of my best friends, he's like family to me. He's a corrections officer, right? So he works at the jail, but still part of this same department, right?
Yep.
I was going through substance abuse, alcohol. Huge problem, bro. But I would justify, so basically I was like, on the days I would work, I'd never touch a sip. It was the weirdest thing.
Sure, yeah.
So like,
because you had a job to do.
I worked Friday through Monday, right? So I wasn't even interested in alcohol, but I was also going through, you know, depression, lost a relationship.
Personal issues,
broke, couldn't see my daughter, court fees. You know, I had nothing in my head, right? And I never drank before that. You know, then you have trauma from the job, right?
Yep.
So started drinking, like on my days off. First it was, you know, here and there. Then I'm like, you know what? I don't feel it no more. Then I'd go and get more and more and more. To the point where I did that for a year on my days off. Year.
Yep.
Straight vodka, dude. Like, you know those handles that are like about this size?
Oh, I know. The
750 milliliters?
750, yeah.
So I'll give you a scenario because that answers the entire question. And I think if I can do it, I'm not special, dude. I'm a regular human being that just wanted to change. But so on my days off, because I didn't have my daughter, I had no priority, right? I would just work out in the morning.
Yep.
And then 10 a.m., I'd go to Lee's liquor store, bro. 10 a.m. Like, it's early as fuck. I'd buy a handle of New Amsterdam because it was cheap. And I would finish it all by at least 11 a.m. And I was already like somewhat plastered, but not totally yet.
Sure.
I would order Uber.
Yeah.
Because I know better still. Even though I was plastered, I'd order Uber to go to a bar and I'd put in $100, which I was already broke. But you don't think, right? When you're under the influence of alcohol.
You don't care.
You don't care.
Yeah.
It just feels good. You're happy. I'd play because you get free drinks when you put money in.
Yep.
So I'd get more vodka.
Gotta love Vegas.
Yeah, you gotta love Vegas, right?
Yep.
So I'd get plastered every day off for a year, almost more than a year, to the point where it got so bad where everyone was worried about me. If I kept going like that, dude, I would maybe lose my job. That could be an option. I'd do something stupid.
Oh, it could be way worse.
Or my health.
Yep.
Or whatever. And I woke up one day and I was like, you know what? That was never me. Like, and that's where accountability comes from. So I would justify trauma from work and my personal problems.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I'd be like, yeah,
that's
because
a great point. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I saw, older lady who committed suicide with a bag over her head and with a rope, right? That I'm allowed to get drunk on my day. I deserve it.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. That's
you
powerful.
See what I'm saying?
I'm glad that you made that point, man.
What do you think about that?
I think we're emotional human beings. Okay, number one is that, and again, with what you say about justifying, we do things and then try to justify it with something else. That's why I thought it was so powerful that you said that, right?
Yeah.
So
zero accountability, and then we try to justify, and when it comes down to it, it's just excuses, right? Oh, that's all it is.
That's just justifying.
It makes you feel better.
Exactly. And then even if it's not in a positive light that you're trying to justify it, you're trying to make excuses for what you think it is.
Yeah.
So for example, man, that was a great point, by the way. That actually left me kind of speechless, because that's what I've been thinking is that, like you said,
you play victim.
That's victim with yourself, right?
That's what I did.
And it's crazy because it's one of the worst kinds, because it's self-sabotaging.
All self-destruction.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. It's one thing to like play victim to someone else's, you know what I mean? To blame people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's another thing to do it to yourself, because you start losing trust in yourself, and then you start making it a habit, which is that trust, right? That trust in yourself. So what you were saying, man, that was good.
Yeah.
What you were saying was, with the lady with the bag over her head, and then you try to justify that. It's like, well, I saw the shit, it's drinking. It's almost like you're trying to justify the trauma that's going on in your life, right?
And then what I would do is also, I mean, it's true. I mean, I did go through fucking hell and back. I can't even see, I'm not a father anymore.
Yeah.
That was by choice.
Right.
Because my ex is so self-destructive, and mental health is huge for me, right? Because if you're not mentally right, how can you take care of the people? Well, in my job, if I'm not mentally 100% there, how can I give you the best service, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Or even take care of myself, right? You got to be able to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. But I would use that too as a way of getting fucked up. And, once you stop, so, when I woke up one day and I looked at myself, I was like, dude, I'm done. I'm done with this life. Alcohol fucking ruined me. It's a self-medicating. In the process, you feel great, right? Because it's like a Band-Aid over all the problems you got. But you wake up the next day, they're still there.
Yes.
You're still broke.
It's actually worse.
It's worse, yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like shit. You have anxiety. And for your physique as well, right? If you're trying to lose weight, gain weight.
Oh, yeah.
It's your worst enemy.
Yeah.
And I get it. If you're like a social drinker, right? You see those people like maybe your parents or...
Yeah, that's far in between though, man.
They can just go out together and have one glass of wine.
Dude, that's not even... Yeah, that's not even close. And I'm not trying to, justify like... Yeah, if people drink or not.
It was impossible for me, bro.
Bro, I think for most people that have that problem, right? It's not like...
It's all or nothing.
And you know what's funny about that?
Yeah.
People like us, because I was alcoholic as well.
Yeah.
People like us will try to justify it into like, maybe I could drink one glass of wine and then we fall binge harder, right? Yeah. Because we think we could do it, but we just want that high. Like we want that like...
Constantly chasing it.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, as you know, after that one drink, it's like, fuck it, I already started drinking.
Yeah. Or it's like, well, one doesn't do shit for me.
Yeah, right.
So let me just get another one.
Yeah.
And then you drink two. But my tolerance is so high, I'm just going to drink three.
I don't even feel anything.
No, I don't feel nothing. I mean? Yeah. I don't feel nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, so like, dude. So I switch all that, bro. Yeah. I quit cold turkey. And that's when you realize, like, honestly, like I'm a little bitch. When I stopped and I look how back I was, not only you destroy yourself, but the people that love you.
Yeah. I think that's the worst part. That's the worst part.
People love you and actually genuinely care about you. Some people believe like, that they're alone. You're not. Man, and it almost gets me emotional. Like, I want to kill myself, dude. Yeah. And that's... Yeah, dude. Like,
you feel like you're stuck in a prison loop. That's the thing.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You feel like you can't get out of it.
Yes. And that's story. Like maybe you've had that or not. But
absolutely, man.
man, that's
it's detrimental for sure. It's
For
one
sure.
of it's one of the worst. I don't even know why. Taking a step back, I don't even know how it's legal. You know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy.
You're right.
I don't even know how it's legal because it is like, I've done, full disclosure, I've done other things before, like cocaine, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Cocaine, stuff like that. I didn't get too addicted into it, you know, like I did with alcohol. Like, alcohol was my shit. It was my jam.
Yeah. How much would you drink? How often?
Oh, dude, every night.
Every night?
750 milliliters of what you're talking
Vodka?
about. Yeah. But the thing is that everyone's different. And meaning that, you know how you said you woke up and then you drank, right? The 750 milliliters of vodka, right?
Yeah.
From 10 and stuff like that.
Or some days it would even worse, bro. I'd wake up at 8 a.m. and it was right there in my bed.
Right.
And I start chugging it.
And I know drinkers like that, right? But my old roommate in San Diego was like, when he'd go to work, he'd have to have Coke and the Jack, and he was one of those guys.
I could not.
You know what I mean?
Like, I'd be fired, dude.
Yeah. So that's my point, is that everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
Everyone. For me, I never drank at work. I never drank.
So
in
you're
the
like
morning.
me, basically, just on your days off.
Not on kinda, but then I wouldn't drink during work, or I wouldn't get drunk before work. I'd drink after work.
Yeah.
And then you'd get the hangover, you'd be okay, and then do it again. That's how I was.
Yeah.
But that was 750 milliliters every night.
That's a lot.
On
dude.
an empty stomach.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
Because
you
know
want to
why?
feel it. Right.
That's it,
right.
man. You answered it.
You want to feel it. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of things alike. Addicts like that have a lot of things alike. And yeah, man, it's really, it's rough, because that's what it is. You feel like you're in a prison loop. And then the thing is that the weird part about it is that you get excited to do it again the next day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like looking forward to it. I get that itch. I'm like, it's about 7 p.m. Oh, it's about that fucking time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how I'd be, bro.
Yeah.
I'd be like, it's my days off. I get 3
You're like
days
looking
off.
at your watch.
Yeah. I'd look at my watch, be like, you know what?
It's time. It's
I'm
hammer
ready.
time.
It's hammer time,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And you know the craziest part is, I do it by myself.
Right.
Like, I'd go on dates and stuff. And,
Sure.
But even that, no real woman is going to be attracted by a dude who's hammered.
Well, surface level, right?
Yeah, surface
level wise. Yeah, you're right. And you know what's funny about, we're venturing off a little bit, but then you know what's funny about, like, I'd go on dates too like that, but I didn't even give a fuck about the date.
Nah,
I'd be like, I want to go home and drink.
Yeah.
You do your thing, you'd kind of like mingle a little bit, and then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what, man? I'm done. I just want to go home. You know what I mean? And keep to myself, listen to some music while I'm fucking fucked up.
Yeah.
Like that's so, without veering off too far.
No, you're good.
Like so I know that we said that it didn't affect your job, but it kind of has to, right? Like, it has to affect it a little bit with, like, your self-esteem. And then, so fun fact before we go into it is that alcohol is the only, I think, substance, what Andrew Huberman was saying, that goes past your blood-brain barrier, which means even after you stop drinking and get that hangover, you have anxiety.
Oh,
because of, you know what I mean? Because you're like going through withdrawals, and then it goes past that blood. So it doesn't stop at the hangover. After you done hang with over, you just feel lethargic. Like you just feel lazy. You just feel like you have anxiety. It's like, oh fuck, like you know what I mean? Your heightened sense of awareness for no apparent reason.
I felt the anxiety part, but I didn't get any withdrawals when I quit cold turkey.
Right. Like me neither. So what I mean by that is that you're kind of just like itching for it. I don't mean like you're going in through like a convulsion.
But some people do.
Yeah, for sure. That's why they kept it. That's why they kept the quote unquote essentials of alcohol open during COVID. That's the main reason why they kept alcohol liquor stores open during COVID, because people die through withdrawals if they don't have alcohol. Which is crazy, dude. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what? Damn, that's powerful. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? But going back to the police force, how do you think, looking back at it, because everything's in hindsight, did it affect like the job that you were doing? Because you think it had to affect you somehow, right? Even though you weren't drunk on the job.
Yeah.
It's almost like, and also how it affected your personal life going into the job, because sometimes it's hard to separate both, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think, especially with the job, it got me more depressed, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I bet.
more depressed. And then I would see these people, right? You go to certain calls for service, and it's like 9 a.m. They're already fucked up, like drunk, and they're fighting with their wife or spouse. Like they beat their girlfriend, right? That's a mandatory arrest.
Yep.
But like that's because alcohol.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So when I would look at these,
sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Would that be the majority of domestic cases where there's substance abuse involved? Maybe
100%.
Is it really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have. That seems the obvious, but I wanted to get like a real insight. It's like, is it alcohol? Is it cocaine? Is it just all
Usually,
across the board?
Drugs, par for one, man. And is weed, right? It's legal.
Yeah. Right.
Like usually, people that smoke weed that I've encountered.
Yeah.
On calls for service, they're just chilling.
Yeah.
They're not violent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But alcohol, they're always the violent ones.
For sure. I mean, that's what it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, people on cocaine, meth, whatever drug they're on,
Have you ever had to use like your skills in martial arts?
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
bit?
So one of my good friends, I'll say his last name. His name is Oz.
Sure.
Great friend. We used to ride together.
Okay.
And I literally put one day, it was on, was it Main and Foremaster right there? You know where it's at? It's like downtown. It's like where all the homeless shelters are.
Gotcha. Okay.
There was this girl. She was like 5'11", 320 pounds. Big girl, dude. And she was fighting people.
Right.
And Oz is right
She
there.
was straight scrapping.
Yeah, she was just like fighting people, like staff, like the volunteers for these shelters.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Wait, what shelter did you say?
It's
Las Vegas Rescue Mission? Is it?
No, Salvation Army.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we
okay,
had
I
those,
misheard,
and then they had
Gotcha.
other ones down there.
Yep.
And so me and Oz are riding together. It comes out as a hot call. I mean, she's fighting people. And Oz is a big dude, like he's lost a lot of weight now, so I'm proud of him.
Sure.
But I get out the car and he follows me. So I ended up sweeping this girl and putting her in a fucking crucifix, bro.
Really?
Yeah, so her arm was tied.
Wow. To your leg, right?
Yeah, like the MMA crucifix.
Yeah.
And I had a key lock on her from a simple sweep. But it came instinct because of training.
Yeah.
Like, am I the best jiu-jitsu guy? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Am I the best MMA fighter? No.
Yeah.
Like, there's guys in our department, dude, and man.
What was it, like an inside leg sweep? Can you go into that? Because I'm kind of curious.
It was an inside leg sweep.
Oh, interesting.
She fell straight down.
It was like a judo sweep.
Yeah, judo sweep, simple sweep.
Yeah.
And then I just ended up putting her in crucifix. Because I was getting ready to fight May 25th.
Right.
For Tough Enough.
Wow.
So I love the crucifix because you can't move.
Oh, the crucifix is one of the worst positions. Yeah, you're fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, there was that one fight, and then the other ones are usually sweeps. I always sweep people because every time you use force, you have to do paperwork.
Yes.
And you have to articulate why you use the force you
That
do.
I'm very aware of, yeah.
So with sweeps, usually if you hold their head right, like a judo sweep, for example, they usually don't get injured.
You mean when you're sweeping them, you hold them in the back of the head?
So
I mean, you have to have a certain level of you have to, what's weird about that is that you're almost like doing such a primal kind of move, right?
Yeah.
Like you're doing a sweep, you're taking someone down. That's what it is. It's a takedown. But you also have to be aware of their fucking health. Like
100%.
you have to, you're taking them down, but then you have to be wary of how you take them down, which is like, it's instinctual, right? Like we do it. That's part of like what we do in training. Yeah, we don't want to hurt our training partners, so it's a level of training that comes with it. Yeah. But I think it's such an interesting dynamic that happens. Like you're trying to take them down, and all of a sudden you're trying to like help them up. Yeah.
No, I definitely think MMA. I'll use the word MMA.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Because is the most important aspect of training with shooting.
Yeah.
In the police department, obviously, education is important. Yeah, you have to read case law, right? So you don't violate people's rights.
Of course. Yeah.
Because then that's how you get fired or jammed up.
Suspended.
But when it comes to, if I could pick how to train people, it would be number one, physical fitness.
Yep.
Number two, you mix that. Well, physical fitness comes with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Or wrestling.
Of course. Yep.
That would be the number one thing I'll put people on.
Yeah.
Just the basics. But yeah, it would be MMA. Education, and third, lifting.
Right.
Those three.
I like it.
And obviously shooting. That's fundamental.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would agree with that. Just a little bit of changes. I think, when it comes to, I think Yeah, I have to agree with the grappling, right?
Yeah.
Grappling in general, which means jujitsu wrestling.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, the majority of the time you have to be wary of not hurting that person. Otherwise, you get suspended, no pay, and all that stuff. And you get litigations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I would, as I guess maybe I'm being a little bit biased because I started with like Muay Thai boxing and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah?
But
you coach people, right?
yeah, but the aspect of what I'm talking about in like a police case scenario, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a police officer. I don't pretend to be.
Yeah.
But then if I were just hypothetically speaking, because why I would put striking up there is distance and range and management, right? Distance and range.
100%.
Not to knock anyone out. It's just the distance. You have to be wary of like how far you are from the guy, how often he's going to hit you. Because look, people do have that puncher chance, very unlikely, that don't know how to fight.
Yeah.
But they're swinging from different angles, right? Because
they don't know how to swing.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro.
And then you're not used to it because you're sparring like fucking people that know.
Yeah.
And then they're swinging from an angle going up top. You haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
That's where the puncher's chance comes in. That's why I think it's so important as like striking to be able to be, maybe hand fight. Right, that's a striking art where Alex Pereira, he does it all the time. He's controlling the wrist,
the distance,
and then backing up, and then knowing the cues on when they're going to move their shoulder to go for that haymaker. That's kind of that's why I think the striking aspect, I'd put it up there, just like a thought,
Sure.
But then I'd probably put it both grappling and striking in the same I think grappling a little bit more important because that's literally your job to hold people down. You know what I mean? Like without hurting them, I guess. Yeah.
No, it's gotta definitely change a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what other things, sticking to, like the program that's implemented, what other aspects would you change regarding that you have funding? Like say if you had money, right? And let's just say you're like the commissioner, right? And then you had funding. Give me the like framework or steps that you would implement first, like training, and then maybe I don't know, hiring out more people. You know what I mean? Take me through that.
Okay. Number one, I would do is training. So instead of quarterly, right?
Yep.
I'd do it at least bi-weekly, twice a month. That's
can I ask you
even
something?
Once a week.
Yeah. How? Like, training, it doesn't seem a lot of overhead though.
No.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a police officer, but you need mats and then you need people there.
Not only that, by yourself, right? Like, MMA gyms are expensive.
I mean, to implement it in the police force though, it doesn't seem like a lot of funding is needed.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
like within the department, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
like a mandatory training kind of thing.
Yeah, you can get mats and stuff, but
like
for cheap on Amazon.
Yeah, and you just need bodies.
Yeah.
And then say, this is mandatory.
But here's
do it
the
for
problem,
an hour.
though.
Yeah.
Right? Discipline.
Okay.
Some people aren't disciplined.
But even considering it as a mandatory thing, like say if your sergeant was like, you need to do this shit, or
they'll do it, but you know how it goes. They'll half-ass it.
There it is. Okay.
Till they get their fucking tooth kicked out.
Yeah, right.
You know what? You only change. Unfortunately, there's two ways, right? I'm Catholic.
Yep.
But that has nothing to do with it. But it's either you decide to change or God's going to make you change.
Right.
And usually it doesn't make you change for the right reason, like for a positive outcome.
Oh, you'll get humbled.
You'll get humbled real quick.
Yeah. That's how you learn. That's how you make the change.
Yeah. But but I didn't want it to get to that point. I don't want people to get to that point, right? Like if you're out of shape and you're not working out and you've seen it as a citizen, right? These cops that they have a huge they're huge.
Yep. Yeah.
It doesn't look too good, right?
No, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
Like there's a certain perception, I think, with people that
actually, I want to know from a civilian point. And,
sure.
And obviously, I'm not bashing them or anything like that, but what do you think? Actually, like I've never asked a citizen, like, what do you think when you see a cop that's just out of shape?
Okay, so I think with that, I thought about that. And I think, so it's subjective to us, right? Yeah. But I'm looking at it through my lens, which means I do train, right? I lift, I do that. So take this with a grain of salt for anyone that's listening, as far as like civilian wise,
Yeah.
I see it from my perspective, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
What do you think though? Like, I know it's not a good look, but like, elaborate on that.
Right.
Like,
so I have a different perception. When I see a cop now, it's a lot different from me before I started training. And that doesn't mean I'm trying to size them up, saying I can beat them up or anything, because like I said, some of those cops can pick me up and drop me on my head and that's it for me. I'm 145 pounds. You know what I mean? But I can tell whether you're really, really out of shape. It's no different than if I can tell if you could fight or not just by the way you stand, the way how stiff you look. You know what I mean? We don't even have to like get into a square dance, like a square up kind of matchup. If you start like doing something that's not, you know, how you should be training it in the gym, I'll be like, "Ooh, this guy's not trained," you know? So what I'm saying, back to my point, is that you can tell when just someone's not physically fit and they'll gas out. Like you can tell a whole lot of person by their physical fitness. So I relate that into this guy, James Clear, with Atomic Habits. You heard of that book?
No, I haven't actually.
So it's Atomic. He said, whatever you are, okay, this relates, I promise. But then whatever your bank account is, it's a lagging measure of your habits, your discipline. Whatever your physical fitness is, it's a lagging measure of like what you eat, how you go to the gym, right? Everything. Yeah. We're not just talking about physical fitness here. If your family is broken, it's a lagging measure of you maybe drinking too much or not loving yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So everything stems from you. So going back to it is what I'm saying is that when I see a cop, and I get it, like people have families, people have busy lives, not to bash them too much, but I think health is the
number one.
Number one.
You only
most
got one
thing.
body.
And think about this. Think about this quote: is that when someone gets sick, you could think about all the money and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
We could think about wanting to have all this money, but But the thing is that what happens when you get sick? You only want one thing. What is that?
Your health.
Exactly. You don't give a fuck about anything else. No. You don't give a fuck about money. You don't give a fuck about even your relationships. I mean, yeah, if you're doing it for your daughter, you know what I mean? But even at that, if you're doing it for your daughter, well, guess what you got to do, man? Get healthy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it stems down to. So that's how it relates. It's almost like, man, when I see a police officer, it's not just him being a police officer and doing a job. It's like, damn, you're literally
You're killing yourself, dude.
You're probably pre-diabetic, right? And that's a whole nother world within itself. Yeah, you're obese. Your ankles probably hurt.
Yeah.
Right? From all that weight. Yeah. And this is the other thing. They're probably used to it because they've been so unhealthy for so long.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, oh, this is what I'm used to, like just eating like shit. So this is what I know. So it's hard for them to change.
Also, I mean, you just made it.
Yeah.
But it makes me sad because I want to help those people.
Absolutely, me too,
you know what
man.
I mean? Like, I don't look at them in fucking, I'm not a hater, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I ain't got time for this shit.
Yep.
Like, if I see someone out of shape, I want them to get in shape.
Yeah.
That would make me happy.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
That would make me really happy if I got them in shape.
Yeah, bro. But like it stems from what we were talking about is that it sucks because you can't make anyone change.
Unless they want to change.
And that's the problem is that hate doesn't come from the top. So I'm not saying that we're up there, but then it's like we work out. We know how it's like to be in that position. Yeah. And I don't bash anyone for being overweight. That's not what I do. I don't like, that's not what I'm here for. It's just sometimes you need that tough love and you need, if you really care about
the reality check
of it. Like that's a tactic. That's a strategy. It's like the tough love and even the empathy, right? Even if you're like, hey man, I care about you. And you know what I mean? That's, it's all intertwined.
Yeah. Even that sometimes, unfortunately, the reality check doesn't work.
I know.
Until they hit the fan.
Yes.
Like, dude.
That's the sad part.
But I never forget that though. When I was alcoholic, dude, and I don't have many friends.
Yep.
Maybe 3 or 4. All right.
I mean, that's how it is when you get older. You know what I mean? You kind of.
But they're like my brotherhood.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
They would tell me all the time, John, stop fucking drinking.
You're right.
Stop doing it. Like, you're going out of control. You're an alcoholic. And I would be like, nah, I'm not. Not because I work out and I'm in shape.
Right.
I'm still, fucking shredded and lifting 225, or I'm still sparring and I'm not alcoholic. Denial, right?
Yeah. Again, you're justifying, right?
Justifying.
Yeah,
That's all you do. You don't take accountability.
Yes. Yeah.
But if it wasn't for these people, I don't think I'd be here today.
Yeah.
And I will never forget them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, bro, when I tell you when I was so depressed, man, that I remember this day, dude. I was so fucked up. Yeah, I usually don't share that with people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I tell people all the time is check on your people that you care about.
Yeah.
Because, you know, some people, they have that character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at them all the time and they have a certain way of carrying themselves, right?
Yep.
And then one day you acknowledge they're not the same way, right?
You start to see it change.
Maybe there's something going on that you should be at least interested. It doesn't matter if you're friends with them or not, like in your work field or where you're at.
Right.
But I'm getting to the point where I was so depressed. I had 89 cents in my bank account, bro. 13,000 in debt, 400 credit score.
Yep.
I'm all of a sudden I play victim, right? So I got so fucked up. I didn't even tell nobody. I was in the garage of my mom's house. She was gone. I was sitting in my car with my gun loaded, and I was ready for her to find me. It was loaded, everything. I was ready to fucking shoot myself. And I didn't give a fuck. That was selfish. But you know what? Some person called me right there. And I picked up the phone and never thought about it again.
Yep.
I snapped out of it. And that's why, you know, I'm big on helping mental health, man.
Yeah.
Like it's so important to me.
Absolutely, man. I mean, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
You know.
But it's like, you know, the simple stuff, right? Like if it wasn't for that person calling me,
right,
I wouldn't be here. But he checked in on me.
Right. Yeah.
But what does it cost you? Right?
Yeah.
Call your mom or your best friend or someone at work, coworker, right? That you see maybe he looks sad or you ask him how he's doing. He's like, I'm all right.
Yeah.
You know, he's checking on your people. We don't have that in our department. Some people will. You know how many people just go about their day and don't even fucking acknowledge? It costs nothing to say, hey, bro, I'm thinking about you. Is everything all right? Do you need anything? Whether we're friends or not, just how you doing, man?
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. But, you know, I think that why people are like that is because we tend to think about ourselves too much. You know what I mean? And
you think that's what it is?
I think so. It's because, look, man, the harsh truth is that no one really cares.
No.
You know what I mean? Even on like the social media wise, and that's why mental health is so prevalent, is that no one really gives a fuck about you.
No,
you know what I mean? And the thing is that that's what I'm really trying to work on.
Yeah.
I did this, I read this book called The Go-Giver, right?
Go-Giver, okay.
Yeah. And the thing is that, yeah, it's just people need to be more giving, you know? And to some people that seems like, you know, more woo-ha because like I said, it stems down to like people caring about themselves. And I guess rightfully so because they have families to feed and, you know, all that. They got to take care of their own, right? But I think if we were a lot more giving, I think not only do you receive more because the universe will just give it to you or whoever you believe in will just give it to you. But I think it'll just make, if people were to do that, it's all in a cycle. People, it gets contagious.
Yeah, it starts with one, it spreads out.
It starts with one and it spreads out. And I like this quote, and I got it from Joe Rogan actually when I was listening to his podcast. Is like, instead of trying to change the world, change yourself.
I like that one.
Right? Because if you try to change the world, all you're spitting out is vomit. You know what I mean? You're stating your opinion and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, no one cares. But if you change yourself through your behaviors, right? And then people see that, it's contagious. It's kind of like 100%. Yawning. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's you just act the way you do. You're kind of people and people see that. They're going to be kind, you know, because it's such a contagious thing. It's like, John's a dude. They're happy to see you. They're like, man, I can't wait to see like John because he has such a good attitude. And then it seeps into him. It's all about your behaviors, man. It's not what you say to people. It's just, look, going back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
No, we can't change people, right? We can't change them with words. But the thing is, the best shot you have is to change them with your behaviors.
I like that.
That's the best shot you have.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're going to do it, I'm saying it's the best shot you have. And I was reading this book.
But can I add something to that?
Sure, sure.
Like, actually, it does work.
Yeah.
Because when I was an alcoholic too, I saw this girl.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
She was a friend of mine, family friend. She was an alcoholic too.
Yeah.
And, you know, since she's part of the family, right? She knew I had a problem just like she did. But she was sober, dude. She was sober for a month and a half already.
Yep.
And talking about actions of other people, how it influenced me. So she was sober in a month and a half. And, you know, when I was going through drinking all the fuck, so I'm like, how can she do it when she was drinking just like me and I can't? And if she can do it, fuck it. I'm going to do it too then.
Right.
And then, dude, when I stopped drinking, you know how many people like that were close to me were like, dude, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Like, it motivates me.
Yeah.
So actions, you're right. When you see other people doing it, it does not guaranteed, but it gives you hope.
Yeah, exactly. And it stems back to this. I think I like to say this quote. I think I've said this quote like every podcast that I've ever
Let's
done.
hear it.
But then it's you are who you surround yourself with. I've already said it. But
fuck, man.
But
you
people,
can't express.
the thing is that why I say it all the time is because I think people hear it and they're like, yeah, that sounds good, but they don't apply it. You know what I mean? Because they're so comfortable with the people that they hang out with that bring them down.
Oh,
That's
yeah. I
the
stopped
problem.
all that, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, man, but ever since you stopped drinking, how long has it been for you?
Going on 3.5 years.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Not
thank you,
one?
man. Not one. I
Just
cold. Yeah.
not
And I
even,
used to drink every night ever since I was 16.
so you don't even have one?
Not even one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not even one.
We just can't.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't. And the best way to do things like that is just cold turkey.
Do you ever crave it?
What's up?
You ever crave it?
No, not anymore. Because of the lifestyle that I'm living now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never crave. Look, I understand where that comes from. I've been through all the AA and all that stuff. Alcoholics
That
Anonymous
shit's trash,
and all that
bro.
shit. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, no. It's okay.
I'll give you my
because
opinion about it.
I've actually said something like that before where, look, for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. For me, it didn't.
It was negative.
Yeah, it's because there's just some things that like people say on there. I actually talked about this with Shane Shapiro actually. That I don't.
He's motivating, dude. That dude's a fucking beast.
He's a fucking beast,
bro.
Yeah,
and he was like,
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you
no.
off.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Man, he was such a good dude. Like,
Oh, he's a fucking great.
dude, he
dude.
even
He
didn't
he's a
even
great-
know me, but he
Yeah.
was always kind. And that
Yeah.
dude's a fucking talking about
He's an
jiu-jitsu,
animal,
bro.
Yep. Yeah.
Not only that, like, just amazing dude.
Yeah. Amazing dude. All
I know he
around.
went through that. He talked to me about it when I
Absolutely,
was going
man.
through it too.
Yeah, I had him on this podcast just talking about that.
Is he sober?
Yeah.
Good
And
for him.
so we were talking about AA is that I don't like the fact, and I get why they do it. I don't like the fact where they say, hey, I'm Chris, I'm an alcoholic. Do you know why? It's because
it portrays that you are.
exactly. It makes it a part of your identity, you know?
Yeah.
And language is very, very powerful. Mind how you talk to yourself. Because
Interesting.
if you self-sabotage yourself too much, and it's okay. Sometimes you make deprecating jokes about yourself, right? To have fun with your boys and stuff like that. But don't overdo it because language is so powerful. So that's what I mean in AA.
We have a big problem, you know, in the police department or first responders as a whole.
What is that?
Alcohol.
Oh, yeah, right.
Huge
I
problem,
could figure.
dude.
Yeah.
Huge.
I mean,
It's a recipe for disaster.
yeah.
But no one talks about it.
Yeah, right.
Mental health too. No one talks about it. Physical fitness.
Why do you think that is?
Embarrassment.
You think it's just one of those things?
Individuals are embarrassed. I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
No, dude. I promise you, when I was alcoholic, people look at me, could never believe it.
Okay.
So
Because you're physically fit.
I look
right.
great. I smile. Right.
You train. People know you train and all that stuff. Yeah.
I still grappled, whatever.
It's
Dude,
like
I
living a
didn't
double life, huh?
Bro, I didn't want to. Yeah. Dude, double life.
Yeah.
Dude, I go to work, smile, say, what's up, dude? Act all happy and shit.
Yeah.
And internally, I was fucking depressed.
Right. Yeah. You were living a lie. It was almost like you were living a lie, right?
I was a lie.
Yeah, right.
Everything I did was a lie in terms of like about myself. I hate liars because that's what they do at my job. But
Yeah, right.
I'm saying I never lied in terms of that, but say with yourself.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, the worst one to lie to is yourself
Yeah.
because it mitigates the trust. I mean, there's no more trust there, right? So like say if you go to a gym, if you say you're going to go to a gym, right? Or to the gym, you make this like New Year's resolution, then you say no enough times. Like if you say you're going to go and you say, and you don't go enough times, you're not going to trust yourself, man.
2 days.
You're going to be like, and
like, then you stop.
I'm a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And then that's where the self-deprecating kind of language comes from. It's like, oh, I know I'm not going to do it. So why even bother? Yeah. And then you just go downhill from there.
Yeah. There's a lot, man. But, you know, our department's great, dude. I love being a cop, man. It's so satisfying.
Yeah, I bet.
But
there's a purpose.
And there's great people out there, man. There's some fucking cops out there that are fucking beasts.
Right.
We have black belts. Fucking
I know.
Ex-UFC fighters, dude.
Yep.
And, you know, our department's doing the best they can. But, you know what we always say, right? There's only so many resources they can give. But if you're not willing to fucking change.
Yeah.
Bro, they give actually tons of resources.
Right.
Like they got the sergeant of martial arts, defensive tactics.
Yep.
He's a 3rd degree black belt, bro.
Sure. Yeah.
He's a fucking beast.
Yeah.
They got the best firearms instructors. We have tactical training. There's this guy, his name is Cam, brown belt.
Yep.
He's like 250.
Yeah,
I roll with him, dude. And I'm like,
I know Cam. Yeah. He's going to be on tomorrow.
You got guys like that. And they're trying to promote fitness. And the problem is we always go back to, people don't want to fucking change.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, man. It's frustrating because we have two sides, right? There's the ones that are trying to better themselves, and I applaud them. And then there's the ones that sit back and talk shit. Right. And they're the ones that can't even run half a mile. Or not even, they can't even do a push-up.
Sure.
And they're out there talking shit about other people making it toxic.
Yeah, and you know what? That's funny you say that because I think, it goes hand in hand, right? If you're not doing anything, it's almost like it coincides with each other. If you're not doing anything, you're almost going to be that way. You're almost going to be like talking shit about people because you have nothing better to do. You're not bettering yourself. You know what I mean? It coincides with each other. So that's where the, hate doesn't come from the top, come from. It's kind of like, well, if you're doing something, you don't have time for that shit. You don't have time to like be talking shit and criticize. You're training, you're doing martial arts, you're doing like your job, you're trying to do the best you can. Like you don't have time for that shit. You know what I mean? Like, but the other people that have nothing better to do is just talking shit because they want to perceive themselves to be like better than you. Like that's their upper hand. Yeah.
Even on the job, suspects, right? Or just people in general, whether it's in the department or suspects, right? They're the ones that talk the most shit. But would they ever step inside a cage?
Right.
Well, the real fucking fighter? What do you think the answer is?
Well, of course. I mean, dude, fuck
no.
Yeah, of course. And I think, just for the general part, I think most people wouldn't. You know what I mean? As far as like, even a regular civilian.
But they're the ones saying, I'm going to beat your fucking ass.
Right. But then that's how you know. That's how you know someone's character, right? That's why martial artists are so humbled. Because of that. They know there's something more out there. They know they could get checked. Like they know they're not the top of the creme. Like they know that, you come across, you're the best fighter in the world. You run into John Jones. Well, I mean,
you're fucked.
You're fucked, yeah.
Yeah.
But man, dude, so we're just going, I think this was a great insight, man. And it was a great talk, man. And we really put it out there. Yeah, man.
But there's so much, man. Like,
yeah, I know.
Dude, I could... like hours of conversation, but
I know. I mean, that's usually the case when people an hour is never long enough.
Yeah, as long as you're happy about what we hit,
Oh yeah, we hit it all, man. And we it's not been, dude. It's just what you have to say.
I know, but hopefully it's good.
Oh, it's really good.
I'm kind of a perfectionist.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
like I want to do make an impact, and then that's something you can add, and then we're good here.
Yeah, brother, dude, trust me, man. Like
my biggest message to people out there is one. Just do it, man. Start somewhere.
Yep.
When it comes to fitness, nutrition, there's always a way, right? Mental health. Unfortunately, it sounds selfish, but you got to take care of yourself first before you can take care of others.
Of course. Yep.
That's the most important for me.
100%.
And then, try to be positive. Like, there's sometimes you feel like shit. Your life sucks. There's some people, they can't even ever walk again. Dude.
Right.
They're in a wheelchair. They can't even go to the bathroom.
Like it could always be worse.
Yeah. And that's what helped me.
Yep.
And my favorite thing to end this conversation with you is, first of all, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for coming on. Yeah.
What you're doing is great.
Yep. Thank you.
Interviewing different backgrounds and especially, you know, it's blue week for you.
Yeah.
I love my job. I'll never change it. Hopefully, you know, I'll train hard enough and I will make SWAT eventually.
Sure, absolutely, man. I believe in you. I believe it.
100% will.
I believe it.
And the biggest message really out of all of it that you should take if you're not doing so is checking on the people you care.
Absolutely.
Or not, you don't even have to care about them. Just check on people that are in your environment. Because sometimes that simple compliment can save a life.
Yeah.
So just remember that.
100%.
A simple, hey man, thank you for what you're doing. Or I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Or hey, I don't know you, but if you ever want to talk, just give me a call.
Yeah. Or give them a compliment.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just showing that people will always love you.
Yep.
Always. There's always one person that will. You're not alone. So people that ever think about trying to kill yourself, it's not worth it. Because I'm telling you, there's people that care about you.
Yeah. 100% agreed.
And I mean it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, perfect, man.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a good ending segment right there. And you know, I think, you know, we've helped a lot of lives today for sure. I think that's the whole point of this podcast.
Just keep growing, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, you know,
brick by brick.
Yeah. There's a purpose for you out there.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if you search enough, you know.
And I see you're training a lot of people now too with your business too. And you know, you should start, you know, sharing with, I'm sure there's a lot of officers that would love to train with you, but you know, they've never trained. So I don't know if you train beginners or people that have never, and there's nothing wrong with it. I want them to start training. So how do they reach out to you? Do they go on your Instagram or?
Well, yeah. I mean, training? Mostly it's people that I come across with. I mean, now I have a kickboxing channel and that's what I'm trying to leverage because of the internet, right? That's your biggest leverage because you can reach it out to the world.
Yeah.
But for anyone, that's the message.
Because I know a couple of people that love to get into martial arts, Muay Thai, for example.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you send you a DM or what?
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of traction on it, you know, but it's just over time. That's all it is. You know, it takes time for people to kind of find it. And it takes time for them to want to get to do it, right? Like back in full circle.
You're a great coach, man. I've seen you, dude. You've been doing it for so long now. So
yeah. Thank you so much, man. But
thank you.
Hey, man, thank you for your time, dude.
Yeah, bro.
Thank you for coming on,
awesome.
my brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's go.